Of all the pestilent alien races that infest our galaxy, the orcs are the more numerous. They mass together in great warbands, and by sheer weight of numbers, they overwhelm those who stand before them. They are cowards, I say. But a man, armed with a lasgun and knowledge of their physiology, has nothing to fear from these abominations. An orc is an unworthy foe, little more than an animal that has, by some insane twist of nature, a very basic understanding of the rudiments of technology. Theories abound as to their true nature. Some reports suggest they are a fungus which produces spores in order to reproduce. It is certain that no one has managed to identify a female orc, or it may be the case that the females look like the males. Such questions are unimportant. It is enough to know that an orc is slow-witted and will cause no problems for a properly trained Imperial infantryman. It is far more appropriate to compare the brain capacity of an orc to a plant than it is to any sentient life form. It is capable of little cohesive thought and is easily confused by loud noises or sudden movement. Orcs live in tribes known as clans. The largest and most savage of them will rise to be their leader by very dint of its size and brutishness. These violent war clans, led by their boss, will attack anything in their way. Orcs positively live to fight, though they have very little skill at it. It is what drives and motivates them. This can work to your advantage. An orc is without the capacity to think intelligently, and its every move can be predicted. That is not to say they are entirely without menace, but only to the untrained and weak-willed. They are relatively strong and tough, and their physiology is made up in such a way to give them a remarkable tolerance to pain and a capacity to regenerate very quickly if wounded. However, this presents little crisis. They just require more shooting than other targets. Orcs are cowards. A tactic they often employ is to send forward waves of their smaller brethren, known as Gretchens, ahead of the main advance to soak up fire. Make prodigious use of flamer weapons as the bright light and heat terrifies these orc runts, adding confusion to the ranks. An orc can seem an alarming prospect when first encountered. They stand taller than a man, with hunched broad shoulders and long gangly arms. They may seem to be heavily muscled, but the fact is their muscle tissue is not as dense as a human's. In actuality, they are considerably weaker than the average man, despite what their appearance suggests. Their skin is thick and coarse and ranges in hue from green to almost black. Portions of their body are covered in stiff black hair. Their brow is heavy, denoting their lack of intellect, and their little, almost useless eyes have a red cast to them. They have great tusks which jut from their mouths, but they are not sharp at all, and a firm tug will pull them out by the root. When confronting orcs in combat, remember their weaknesses and consider the facts. They are but animals, and they have no place in our galaxy, where they prey only on the weak and helpless. After they have seen you with a loaded lasgun and a smile on your face, you can shoot them in the back as they run away. It is important that a guardsman is able to properly identify the different ranks and types of orc in order so that he may properly smite them in the name of the Emperor. The war boss is always the biggest and toughest orc in the band. It keeps all the others in line by virtue of its dominance, size and strength. Because of its size, it will present an easier target. A shot to the face will drop the alien scum like a sack of potatoes. Boys make up the rank and file of the orc rabble. They are usually armed with crude machine guns and cannons which frequently misfire and jam. These bestial brutes are no match for the proud Imperial Guard, and disciplined fire into the body or head will end their miserable lives shortly. Nobles, or more commonly referred to as knobs, are generally larger than boys. They can be considered more dangerous, although it's all relative when it comes to orcs. They are sometimes equipped with primitive versions of power armor. They will be heavily armed with ranged and close combat weapons, and they delight in the loud noises they can make. chances are they will be so engrossed in the explosions and cracks emanating from their probably malfunctioning weapons that they won't notice you creeping up on them to administer a killing shot into their eye. Orcs are capable of building makeshift vehicles, but be aware, variations are widespread and no standard pattern exists. The only consistency is the instability of all their transports, further proof of the aliens' instability. The fact that the bestial scum orc aliens have technology is a phenomenon that defies understanding. Orcs love vehicles, but they in no way compare to the noble designs of the Imperial Adeptus Mechanicus, and are ramshackle wrecks at best. Orcs have a great predilection for speed, and often their vehicles are designed to gain maximum velocity at the expense of other design considerations such as stability and structural integrity. Unlike the superior and revered directives of the Adeptus Mechanicus, orcs change and mutilate their vehicles beyond all recognition. This makes identifying specific classes difficult, although actually identifying a vehicle as one belonging to the orcs is very easy. No creatures make their means of transport more ugly, blocky, makeshift, and loud as do the orcs. Destroy them all on sight. However, it is a sad and common practice amongst these foul Xenos to actually capture and mutilate Imperial pattern tanks for their own ends. Look out for signs of this monstrous behaviour. Orc glyphs and symbols painted on the hull, the mounting of orcoid weapons, crude modifications and changes to the once holy shape, and the painting of red stripes on the hull in an effort to make the vehicle travel faster. Destroy these mistreated vehicles with a prayer to the tortured machine spirit inside, knowing you are freeing it from its misery at the hands of the alien. The most common orc vehicle is the war bike. They are swift, travel impacts, and are usually armed with twin autocannons. They are lightly armoured, and a well-aimed missile into their midst will be sufficient to shred their fuel tanks and send them all to their doom. Trucks are the orcs' equivalent of the righteous Chimera chassis. It provides the basis for most orc vehicles, from artillery platforms to troop carriers. They are speedy, manoeuvrable, and can be armed with an infinite variety of weapons. They are often open-topped, which makes the crew very vulnerable to small arms fire. The Orc Dreadnought is a bastardized insult to the legendary dreadnoughts of the Adeptus Astartes. They are piloted by a single orc, hardwired into a mobile battlesuit. They come armed with any mixture of long and short-range weapons. They are slow to move and as such easy to destroy. Coordinate heavy weapon teams to annihilate them as soon as possible. The sight of a wrecked dreadnought will put the fear of the God Emperor into their animal hearts. Armed with this important information, no guardsman should ever struggle to deal with these primitive orcs. However, if you are ever concerned, remember you have by your side the tool of cleansing. Your standard issue lasgun is your instrument to mete out the Emperor's justice upon these unclean Xenos. The alien is weak, always remember that, and the white-hot heat of a las round will be enough to end their miserable lives. Treat them as you would a blood leech clinging onto your belly, a parasitical irritant, a thief of essence, a taker of life to be purged, burnt, cut out, ground underfoot, destroyed, and most importantly, annihilated with a prayer on your lips.